All right, Dusty Slay here. We're having a good time. I'm sitting in a comedy condo in Tampa, Florida, as you can see by the awesome paint job and artwork here, and super old TV. I did a gig in Rock Springs, Wyoming. I got a gig there doing comedy for an event that raises money for the Special Olympics. Very fun. I never been to Wyoming. I was like, I want to drive through it a little bit. You know, since I'm flying everywhere now, I was like, I want to drive through Wyoming a little bit. So I flew into Salt Lake City, Utah, rented a car, and then I got in that car and I drove into Wyoming. All right, here I am at my hotel in Los Angeles, and I'm about to get an Uber to LAX, where I'm flying to Salt Lake City, renting a car, and driving across Wyoming. Okay, now I've landed in Salt Lake City, and I'm about to rent a car and be on my way to Wyoming. The car that I rented had, I don't know, it was some Kia, and it had this sensor in it that every time you ran off the road a little bit, it would like ding and let you know that you'd run off the road. And I run off the road all the time. So this is a problem for me. I'm like, dang, maybe let me know every other time or every couple of times. But every time I'm like, I get it. I run off the road a lot. You know, I gotta text. I gotta change the radio station. I got people to talk to on the phone. Yeah, I'm gonna run off the road here and there. And then it also had another feature where if you like ran off the road enough times, it would flash up this thing on the dash, and it would be a little cup of coffee, and it would say, consider taking a break. I'm like, if I took a break every time I ran off the road, I'd never get where I'm going. Okay, so I've rented this Kia Optima here, and I'm about to get in it. I'm about to drive to Wyoming. Alright, I'm out in Utah, and look at this behind me. Wow, this is just right off the interstate. There's some mountains out here. Amazing. Got to my hotel, which was the Quality Inn and Suites, which I gotta say, I've been a little spoiled lately. I've been getting some pretty nice hotels, and when you find yourself at a Quality Inn, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm back to this again. And but it's great. I loved it. It was very nice, but I was worried that it would be unsafe because the doors are, you know, it has outside doors. I'm always afraid of the outside doors. But it was fine, right? So then, you know, I go around and I drive around Rock Springs a little bit. I drive up into some random neighborhood where I see a bunch of houses and an overlook of the city. So I'm going to go up there. And then I pulled into someone's personal driveway and filmed the city. standing overlooking Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'm about to be down there, about to do some shows down there. But wow, look at that, Rock Springs, Wyoming. Fantastic. I was hoping another train would come by. I'd like to get a shot of the whole train. Train never comes when I want it to come. Only when I'm in a hurry, I need to get somewhere. Then the train shows up, blocks all the traffic. Live here. I like it. A lot of mountains, a lot of wide open space. Very fun. I mean, I'm into wide open space. I get cramped up sometimes. Look at this. Rock Springs, cold. I guess there's a lot of coal around here. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of coal myself, but they say it's here. The car I rented for 2 days, but they wanted to charge. Well, I wanted to rent for 2 days, but they wanted to charge me so much money. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and take the car back a day early. So I drove up to the airport, and on my way to the airport, I was like, this is amazing. There was no one around, like no one. I stopped the car, stood in the middle of the road, and there was no one. I'm out here in Wyoming, and there is nothing around. I'm driving to the airport, and this is amazing. I can't believe it. I love it. I mean, I'm standing in the road right now, and there's no danger because there is no one around. I love it. I can't believe it. I'm doing a show tonight at the Broadway Theater, Rock Springs, Wyoming. Come check me out. It's going to be a great time. Expect hilarious content like this and better. So I drove to the airport. I was the only person at the airport. I dropped the car off, and then I went to call an Uber to come pick me up, and there were no Ubers. Now, Uber was in the city, but there was only like 2 Uber drivers, and neither, because I know there's 2, because the day before I had checked. I was like, let me see if there is Uber in town, and there were 2 Uber drivers. I was like, okay, great. But on Saturday, there was no one. No one was working. So I had to call a cab, which I haven't done in I don't know how long. And the cab came, and that was pretty expensive. But we talked for a while, and as we're driving out of the airport, the lady tells me that she used to live in North Carolina. And she said the thing that she misses the most about North Carolina is the trees. Because she said there's no trees here. And then I look around, and there are no trees. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's like, I don't think about how many trees are around me in the South until I get somewhere where there's no trees. And I was like, wow, there are no trees here. And then I got back to the hotel, and I looked out in the parking lot, and there was tons of trees. So, I don't know. The place we were at, there were no trees, but I don't know what this lady's talking about. There's definitely trees in Wyoming. Okay, I'm headed to my show in Wyoming. The temperature has dropped drastically. Like, it's 6:30 now, but the sky is dark, and they say that the snow is moving in tonight, but we're headed to the show. This may be my ride right here. Let's see if it is. And I'm on stage. I start the show. It's a little weird. And I'm telling a joke, and this person is like clapping. They just keep clapping at every joke. And I'm like, you know what? I'm excited for the enthusiasm, but I'm like, maybe don't clap every time, you know? And I'm like, all right, really a lot of enthusiasm out there. And I was like, and then the clapping would keep going. And then as it went on, like, I would start a joke, and they would clap. And then I'm like, all right, you know, I was like, maybe just clap every other joke, or maybe just do 1, 2, 3, and then be done with it. And I made fun of it a little bit, and then I thought, oh no, this is for the Special Olympics. This could very well be a special needs child clapping for me. And so I was like, oh, and I had never really made fun of the person. I just made fun of the clapping a little bit. So I felt bad. So then I'm doing my joke about the Cracker Barrel, right? And I'm like, I was like, I said, they got a little gift shop in there. And this person, the same person that's been clapping, I assume goes, I like a gift shop, don't you? And I was like, well, yeah, I like a gift shop. I mean, I'm into it. So turns out the end of the show went great. I talked to someone about it, and they told me, they go, yeah, it was a special needs girl. And they said she claps at every show. But I never made fun of her, and she was fine. And I think she had a great time at the show. They said she had a really fun time. So I handled the quote-unquote heckle without offending anyone, and it was a great time. And then I got to meet a bunch of people after. It was very nice. And then I had the earliest flight imaginable the next day, and as I got out to go in the morning, it was snowing. And there was a lady who helped put together the show that was kind enough to drive me to the airport because there were no Ubers. And I got to the thing. There was one flight, one plane, and I made it, and I flew out of there and came home, and I had a great time. My first experience in Wyoming was amazing. Thank you, Rock Springs.